Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back. Welcoming you to Kung Fu Film Focus for this Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. This evening we have a classic from the genre, Duel of the Seven Tigers, a film that was produced in 1979 and starred a variety of martial artists, actual real-life martial artists, and they performed well in this film. Some of them are names that you may be familiar with. Some are not necessarily the most famous, but you have familiar faces all throughout this production. This was an independent film, and it was produced by Alex Gao, and Alex Gao had a studio list of films where he produced, and these films played on the circuits of Grindhouse in America. Actors like Cliff Locke, Sharon Young Pang Pan, Philip Ko-Fei, Han Yin Kit, Chan Su Peng, Wang Ho, Chu Chi Ling, Chang Kam, San Kwai, and others came together to make this film something that many people, if you are a fan of the genre, you come to know these movies and these players from these films. What I liked about Duel of the Seven Tigers is that it was an ensemble piece, it meaning that they had a handful of quality martial artists that came together for this production, and they really showed their skill sets. In fact, the opening credits depict each actor, martial artist, with their specific style or school or where they were at the time the film was made. Some of them were competing in live tournaments. Some of them were teaching in schools, and they basically had a way of presenting themselves on film with their particular styles that they studied. And that's what was really outstanding about this particular film as well. When you see certain actors and actresses from the martial arts genre performing on screen, typically the fight choreographer would get them to do or perform whatever their skill set was best. And he found a way to incorporate it in the choreography. That was something that was really cool because it showcased the artist on film much better. I'm trying to look up some history here. Hold on one second, family, as I trying to figure out why is it not showing on my I'm still working at trying to get my multi-streaming together for my multiple channels, but it feels like I got a grasp of it this evening, and that's meaning I'm off to a great start. So forgive Stormy, because I try to do this the best I can, you know what I mean? But let me put myself on screen here. This is one of the original theatrical posters from the film. Cliff Locke, the featured actor. We'll get into why he is prominent on the poster, but he is surrounded by the cast that joined him in this film. One of the other aspects is that his character plays a martial arts champion, where he basically had been a winner over other fighters throughout provinces. And the noted Korean martial artist Casanova Wong, also known as Kasafa, is in this film in a cameo role, playing someone that Cliff Locke fought but was defeated by. But his character in the cameo is just there to establish that that was someone that Cliff Locke fought, but something happens to him, so they're not able to enlist the services of Kasafa. But they, instead of he was unavailable, they go to Cliff Locke. There are training sequences in this film which harken back to Jackie Chan's Snake in the Eagle's Shadow and Drunken Master, where he had intense training scenes. That was something that Jackie kind of established in his films when his career took off with those two blockbusters. It began a strand of, in order for the heroes to get prepared to defeat the villains, they would have to go into intense training, whether they were learning a style or devising a plan of attack or a combination of the two or what have you. they would have these extended training sequences. Sometimes they would show them working out, where some of the men, they flex their physiques and their martial prowess. But nonetheless, audiences kind of took to that because they liked the transition of the fighters going from one stage of being able to fight and perform to another. And so that was something that was noteworthy during this particular era of martial art films. Like I said, this is Cliff Locke. He is the kind of like doughy face guy that you may have seen in various productions. Let me see if I change my, I want to see if I change this. Will it show up on my other account? Because I can't find the live stream on my, there it is. Okay, there it is. Yeah, I had to switch it up. This is crazy. But I'm still learning, guys. I'm still learning. Like I said, I'm getting better. At least I am broadcasting live from my Kung Fu channel tonight. This is the first live stream in all this time because I've been uploading this stuff to the channel, but I had difficulty going live from the channel. And you know I don't like to bother people to try to get to help me out, but it's been a painstaking process. I'm just glad that I'm finally coming around. Joining Cliff Locke in this film is veteran martial artist, fight choreographer, stuntman, and actor Han Yin-kit. And you may remember him as Boss Mai from Bruce Lee's The Big Boss. And he was the man that ran the ice factory. He was the boss, you know, taking out Bruce Lee's family and friends in that film. But yeah, Han Yin-kit had been around a long time and was a noted fight choreographer for many films. Films like Come Drink With Me and the Dragon Inn and films like that. He is a person that came up in the Peking Opera School of Martial Arts, where he learned all the weaponry and all of that, tumbling, gymnastics and stuff. And Han Yin-kit is renowned for inventing the trampoline action for martial art films. You know how when guys seem to jump up in the air really high or flip through the air and stuff? He was the one that came up with that idea to use hidden trampolines that were either blocked by set design or camera angles, where the participants and action figures would go through their process and would leap astonishing heights or whatever according to camera angles and everything. He brought that to Hong Kong action cinema, and he displayed it a great deal in his early productions that he choreographed. As the film industry went on into the mid to late 70s, they kind of moved away from trampoline stunts, but every once in a while it was useful and soon to be taken over by wire effects. Now, the thing about wire effects, even though they had been around since before the trampoline action, is the wire effects were very dangerous because they would have these subjects held up on wires that sometimes they would find themselves, you know, falling and just, you know, not able to have proper padding or protection on the ground. It would lead to broken limbs and things of that nature. So it was not something that people really enjoyed during the industry. In fact, Alexander Fuching broke both legs from a wire stunt while filming one of his films shortly before his death. So it's always been dangerous in the Hong Kong film industry with that. So just a little bit of history there for you guys. I see there's a couple people out there watching in the backdrop. Hey, please feel free to write in the chat. This is the first live broadcast from the channel, and I'm just excited, a little bit anxious, because I had run into some frustrations and I couldn't get it done. I was trying to broadcast from my other channel for yesterday's show and ran into some issues there. But I think I kind of thought it through, and I did a quick test today to see if what my findings or my thoughts of why I was incorrect in how I broadcast. And sure enough, by running the test, it brought me to a place where now I'm able to do this live stream before you guys. So, like I said, feel free to write in the chat. Welcome, come one, come all, because we're talking Kung Fu over here. This is my second channel, and I really like to talk Kung Fu films. Duel of the Seven Tigers came out in 1979. It was released June 3rd, 1979 in Hong Kong. And it has a couple of other titles that it is known by: Return of the Scorpion and Shadow of the Tiger. Now, that Shadow of the Tiger is a title that I knew it by, and to get down to what I'm trying to get ready to post another image on the screen here. The other theatrical poster, which is kind of more famous and familiar, this one here, which is the one that I remembered when I went to the movie theaters, Duel of the Seven Tigers. Now, Cliff Locke is not featured in this one. The person who is featured in this particular poster art happens to be the villain of the film, and that would be Philip Coffey. Now, Philip Coffey, which I don't have I could put one up here. Let me see if I can put an image of Philip Coffey up here for you guys. Let's see. I thought I had it, but I have to put it in there. Philip Coffey is a famous stuntman, choreographer, martial artist, star from this era, and he played villains. He played the evil boss. He played lackeys. He was kind of like a character actor, but his martial arts skills was very good, and he was versed in, if I'm not mistaken, karate. And he brought that experience of karate to the Hong Kong industry and picked up the martial arts of Kung Fu quite easily, because he had his background in karate. He recently passed just a couple years ago, but was one of cinema's, Hong Kong cinema's favorites. He was a guy who, I'm just, as I talk about the guys, I want to remind people that a lot of these men, they found fame through being skillful martial artists. And it's almost a shame that the industry today isn't the same, because they make a lot of people stars who aren't even martial artists now, but they can do choreography due to dancing and stuff like that, and wire effects and various visual effects. But Philip Coffey is a favorite. I'll put him up on the screen for you there. There's an image of Philip Coffey. The cast that helps round out these actors on screen. Just above Philip Coffey there, you have Yao Lin Chen, who was also famous for films such as The Secret Rivals Part 1 and 2, Invincible Armor. You see this actor, he's been out there, he was in what was it, The Chinese Mac. Also, man, there were so many. It's like the titles of the films don't come to me fast because I got so much I'm trying to talk about here. But he's been around and was around during this era, playing in a lot of roles there. Adrian Viet, good to see you out there, brother. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. Hit that like button while you're here. Also, another veteran is another familiar face that you would have seen, and that would be Chi Lin Chu. Chi Lin Chu is a guy who always played like a hung fist fighter, and a lot of the films he wore these wristbands with the studs on them and stuff, or a belt with the studs on them, and usually had his shirt off or had a wife beater on or something, because he had a good physique to show off on film as far as his fighting and everything. And he did mostly fist fighting, not a lot of kicks, but hung style, mantis fists and stuff like that. He was around a lot. He's still around today. He's an older gentleman. I think he's in his 80s now, but he's kind of hilarious because he likes to talk about his days back in doing these films, and he's very enthusiastic when he talks about it. So it's great to see him still around. Another one of the stars from the film that I was talking about is Casanova Wong. Here he's depicted with a bald head, but not in the film. This image I have of him comes from a Sammo Hung film. I think that might be, what is it? Shaolin Invincible Monk or something like that. I think that's where he's in there. And Golden Harvest film. And then we have the actress Sharon Young Pan. Sharon was a great martial artist in films at this early stage, and she had great kicks. She did these wonderful splits and everything. She was kind of like the female John Liu. She could really extend her legs and do all that kind of stuff with her kicks and everything like John Liu would do. So, she was very popular for a short period of time in the film cinematically. One thing about the young ladies in martial art films, they would make these films, as long as they were popular, producers would put them out there. But after they turned like 26 years old or something like that, that was considered old for them. And a lot of them would go on and seek marriage and retire from the industry. So when you see Chang Pei Pei, who came back in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, after in the 60s becoming very famous for her breakout role in Come Drink With Me, to see her come back in Crouching Tiger as an older woman doing martial arts with Chow Yun-fat and Michelle Yeoh, it just shows you how vast the genre is. Yeah. Aladdin Saddam, what's good with you? Good to see you out there. Thank you for stopping in, brother. Salute to you as well. So yeah, let me tell you a little bit about Duel of the Seven Tigers. I have a review that I pulled up from 2011. And the gentleman that wrote this review, JJ Bona, salute to JJ Bona, who reviewed this for I want to say City on Fire website. And he goes on to say, this was posted by JJ Bona, but the article, the review is by Joseph Kubi, excuse me. let me correct myself. Joseph Kubi is the article's review author. He says, a valiant effort to put a Chinese spin on the Seven Samurai, if not coming quite as close as Seven Swords. Yeah, because Seven Swords came in the 90s. This film is the third remake of Kurosawa's most famous concept that I've heard of, though it was the second to be made. The third remake being Roger Corman's Battle Beyond the Stars, whose soundtrack had been lifted for the kung fu classic Hitman and the Hand of Buddha, starring Bootmaster Wang Jingli. This film was financed by the Hong Kong Kung Fu Council, so authenticity is assured, but that doesn't mean to say the excitement is diminished, because time and again it has been shown constantly through the passages of time that the authenticity doesn't mean entertainment, because you can have someone who's a real martial arts master who won't look as good as someone who's not a real martial arts practitioner, aka Long Kar-yang, Beardy, John Liang, Bruce Leong, and Liang Jia-ren. Yeah. Likewise, with historical movies, you can get a film which is historically accurate that can prove to be a total bore, but you can get a film which can be historically inaccurate that ends up being wildly entertaining. Isn't that the truth? The film opens with the obligatory sequence of having someone demonstrate their martial arts skills in front of the camera, though at least this sequence, alongside the opening sequence for Sammo Hung's Warrior 2, seems to show some purpose in regards to our understanding of what we're seeing on screen. The score for this sequence makes up for any deja vu experience by a seasoned viewer of martial arts flicks. Now, what the author of this review is trying to say is, during the opening scroll of credits, each actor is given a moment to showcase their skill set with their name, the gym that they're associated with. If they were competing professional at the time with tournaments and everything, it tells you what tournaments they won in Southeast Asia and the year and all of that. So it's a real nice opening sequence that establishes that you're watching real martial artists in this particular kung fu film. And though I don't necessarily agree with what he was saying, that sometimes you could have great martial artists, but they don't look good on film, and you could have martial arts actors who aren't real martial artists and they look great. What it really comes down to is the choreographer and teaching the subject how to perform what's being asked of them, and that really belies on the individual, because there are some people who look deadly on film. Like, take Michael Jai White. Anybody who's watched Michael Jai White fight in action scenes in his films, you could tell the gentleman can really handle himself. And that's just him acting on screen. He's a little bit more dangerous in real life, because he is well practiced in several martial arts and he has great control and technique. There are others who are kind of like on that line too, like Scott Adkins, martial artists who can really do it in real life and do it on film. Scott Adkins is famous for doing these 360 whirls in the air and everything with kicks and everything that they use for wire work in Hong Kong, but he's able to do it in real life. Amazing stuff by amazing martial artists, man. I love that stuff. So, yeah, Adrian says Michael got the best soundtrack for Black Dynamite. Yeah, Black Dynamite was awesome. To get back to this review article, It says, on that strand of thought, Duel of the Seven Tigers has one of the best scores I've ever heard in a Hong Kong film. I was quite surprised by some of the music cues chosen, despite only a few of them being derived from Drunken Master. But hey, it's common for Hong Kong movies, especially ones that made during this period of filmmaking. The music had a very poignant feel and significantly added to that sense of epic grandeur, which helps compensate for the fact that this isn't exactly a Chinese version of David Lean. Speaking of epic grandeur, the film's production values are at the forefront during a scene which takes place at the docks and junks. The film features some unintentional humor, in a fight between two monks during a pivotal moment in the film where it's decided that the winner can be the new abbot, but the loser has to leave Shaolin Temple, hence the reason why karate is invented, thus introducing the racist antagonist. The humor involves this funny walk which the loser does as he's fighting the winner, a real-life monkey kung fu stylist. It doesn't reach the same heights as John Cleese's funny walk routine, yet the way the monk does it suggests that Wong Jing must have been prompted to follow suit, as Stephen Chow does a similarly funny walk in the Wong Jing scripted $60 Million Man. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. As I'm reading this review, I'm actually reading it live with you for the first time. And I have to stop myself from this review because this particular person is grasping at elements that have absolutely nothing to do with the Kung Fu film. He's trying to make deference to, like you heard him mention John Cleese or even Stephen Chow. But these films during this time, they showed, this particular film showed the actors and actresses participating with their skill sets. Some of them had Wing Chun skills, some of them had Hong Fist style, some of them had Choi La Foot. So there were various martial artists in this film. And when you understand that, this is where you get the variety. Like he mentioned, the fighter having a funny walk, because that actor in the film was a choreographer for the film as well. And he was a real life monkey stylist. He was a monkey kung fu stylist. And when you have someone who is adept at those type of skills, they could look strange and goofy to someone who is unlearned about those martial arts. So I'll cut him some slack because he probably doesn't understand that. And even if he does, it's kind of disrespectful to take the notation of what they're doing and even considering it humorous, because one thing about the culture of the Chinese Kung Fu martial artists is there are certain elements of humor that exist, and then there are certain elements that there's nothing funny about what they're doing, and they take their skills and their craft extremely serious. You could get your head bashed in by a martial artist for being disrespectful about their craft. So see, that's an unlearned, Western person. I call him a Western person because they said that his name was Joseph Kubi. Yeah. So that's a European. Yeah. Anyway, this film involves a group of mercenaries who set out to find this great martial artist and Cliff Locke, and they want him to assist them in tracking down Philip Kofei, who's the bad guy in this film, and is a karate practitioner who is going around beating up all of the Chinese kung fu artists throughout the provinces. He's either killing or maiming them or disgracing them in some kind of way. And they are looking to find some martial artists that they can band together with to defeat him. So Cliff Locke is the guy that they come across. And why do they come across him? Because they were really going for Casanova Wong, but after a duel with Cliff Locke, where Cliff lost to him, Casanova's character, they said in the film during the narration, he later was killed. So they went to the second best guy, and as they decided to ask him to help them, he didn't really want to help at first. And it's been years since I watched the film. Not years, but well, it's been a little over a year since I really watched the film in its entirety. But Cliff Locke's character ends up assisting them, but he has to learn all of their styles to combine with the style that he has. He has the style, I believe, of Choi La Foot. So he's got to learn all of their styles to combine with his to defeat the Karate Man. And the Karate Man, played by Philip Kofei, is very brutal in his execution of martial arts. So that's what they have to end up, like the Wing Chun guy. He was fighting and he got his neck damaged where his head was like stuck, turned to the side like this. Can you imagine you have to walk around like this for the rest of your life with your neck turned? Man, that's jacked up. But it is messed up. But so Cliff ends up learning all of their skills, and from there he has to go and eventually take on Philip Kofei. There's some great fight sequences in this movie. Great fight sequences, and the choreography is executed very well by all of the participants. I really like what's in here, man. This is a pretty damn good kung fu film. I would recommend it to anybody. If you like films like Secret Rivals or Invincible Armor, then you should enjoy Duel of the Seven Tigers. It's very entertaining. So yeah. So you guys are out there watching right now. Anybody got any questions or anything? I would like to ask that, because we can talk about it. Adrian, you got any questions? Aladdin Saddam, you got any questions? Yeah, but this Duel of the Seven Tigers is a pretty good film, man. I only wish that YouTube will allow us to show footage, right? But they hit you with that copyright crap. And I ain't trying to get copyrighted on the new channel, so yeah. We're trekking pretty fast toward 300 subs on the channel, man. And I really want to say thank you to the people who signed up for the Kung Fu channel, man, because I try to do my boxing content. I try to do this. I try to do the nerd stuff. So it's like between all three, you know, I get a little exhausted, man, but I thank everybody for the support that I've been getting, because it's much more than what I had anticipated. Adrian saying it's available on YouTube. We'll watch it, Sensei. Yeah, man, watch it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You'll enjoy it. It's not a bad kung fu film at all. Yeah. This particular movie poster, though, I really like it. It's kind of got that old 70s action flair to it. I like that. You know. Adrian says, just found out that Philip Cole, one of the actors, was made a lot of Filipino movies like Tornado Jack. Yeah, Philip Cole was popular, man. You know, he was in Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon. He was one of the extras. You could actually see him in several scenes in the movie in the background. In fact, in that scene late in the movie when they bring John Saxon out to the field before the final conflict, he's one of the guys walking John Saxon out on the field, Philip Cole. He's on some Video Asia film special features where he talks about his experience on Enter the Dragon. And he talked about Bruce Lee having on-set fights and everything, and how Bruce Lee was the real deal. Philip Cole has always handled martial choreography very well. One of my favorite roles of his is when he's playing in Dragon on Fire, and he's the guy that learns other people's styles and then defeats them, kills them after he learns it. He could just watch a guy fight and pick up his style, and then when the guy is like, you know, by himself, he kills him, so that guy nobody will know that style anymore. I love his character in that movie, Dragon on Fire. I don't think I did a review. Maybe I did do a review on Dragon on Fire, because I've done quite a few, guys. I've done almost 100 reviews on these movies. So in a couple I've done more than one review. So, and it's not that I'm running out of movies, it's just that sometimes I forget that I did that movie already. But you know, with Philip Cole, he just, that character he plays in Dragon on Fire, he has an hourglass, and he tells the guys, he's like, when this time runs out, so does your life. And what was really cool, there's a fight scene at the end of the movie where he pulls that hourglass out because he's fighting John Liu and old boy that's in this movie, what's his name? Lao Lin Chin. And Philip Coffey pulls out that hourglass. He's like, when the sand runs out, you know the story. And dude, he had something attached to his back. He took it out of it was wrapped up in some cloth. He took it out of the cloth. It was a real big ass hourglass. In other words, Philip Co's hourglass was this big. So you know the sand run out in like 2 minutes or something, right? Dude pulled out that big ass hourglass. That shit have run out in 24 hours. In other words, he ain't planning on dying in the 2 minutes. That shit was funny. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you gotta go watch Dragon on Fire to see that, man. Dude pulled out, he took that thing off his back, he put that big ass hourglass on that rock. Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, Adrian, man, let me tell you something. That was clever, man. He pulled out a giant hourglass. It was like, we ain't going by your time, we going by my time. Man, that was classic. I remember when I saw that in the theater, because you know back that played in the theater. Man, the audience was roaring with laughter because that film got some funny sequences in there. Like there's a sequence where this guy, he's got rabies because he was trying to rape some girl and he got bit by a dog. The dog bit his wiener off and ran away with it, but he caught rabies from the dog. So he was eating these beetles and stuff. Had people making him these soups and stuff with these bugs in it, and he was crazy. But anyway, he had his own style of kung fu. So there was a moment in the movie when he said, "You're about to see the premiere of dog kung fu." Crazy, man. These guys, they be doing some, man, they be doing some stuff, man. They just had you just tripping out of these kung fu movies. Yep. Adrian says, the plot takes the one from Tiger and Crane Fist to a whole new level. Cause you mentioned the MC needs to learn all the styles. Yeah, man. You know, Cliff Locke was pretty good. He was a good martial artist on film too. He just was a funny looking dude. He had a big old nose and stuff, kind of like Jackie Chan. But he didn't have the charisma that Jackie had. Jackie had a little charisma. Yeah. But some of these guys, man, they were so outstanding in their abilities. I have nothing but respect for them, you know. Yeah. But yeah, man. I'm about to get ready to shut it down because, you know, I asked if anybody have any questions, and nobody have any questions or anything. Just wanted to come out here. I had this queued up a few weeks ago and had to keep putting it off due to scheduling, things going on with life, and you know, but I have originally wanted to air this episode in early October, but you know, things happen, but I'm doing my best, you guys, to try to keep the flow up, you know what I'm saying? Just keep things going, man. So I appreciate you guys coming out here. There's a couple of you out there, you know, you show me a little love and support, you know, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. So yeah, buddy. So if nobody got anything else, you know, we'll get ready to head on out. We got that LWAC 71 out there, says, keep striving, brother. Believe in yourself. You got this. Hey, LWAC, I've never seen you before in my chats, but there's no loss of confidence here, brother. Just know Stormy is tired, man. I've been working. I've been trying to put these things together, these joints. I'm a hard-working dude when it comes to this, man. You know, it's kind of low energy day, but okay, LWAC, okay. That's short for your acronym for Lone Wolf and Cub. Okay. Hey, man, listen. It's a great channel. Let me tell you something. My regular channel, Stormy B Man, if you go into my archives, you could type in Kung Fu Film Focus and all of my reviews will come up. But this is my dedicated channel where I'm still in the process of importing nearly 100 of my reviews from over there on my other channel to this channel. This is my first live stream on this channel strictly related to Kung Fu Fair. So if you love Kung Fu, this is the place to be, huh? And I'm not one of them guys that only talk Bruce Lee. Everybody know Bruce Lee now, right? I know so much about Bruce Lee, I could actually go into some of these situations where there's people out here talking about him and dispel a lot of the untruths that they put out there. But that's not my job. So I don't care. You know, I admired the guy when he was around doing his thing. I was old enough to remember that and all of that. But I talk about a lot of the independent Kung Fu films and the actors and actresses, the directors, the choreographers, the film studios that put them out. I'm seasoned. I cover all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I cover all of that. So sub to the channel, brother. And you could go through some of what's been posted on here already. And then there'll be more stuff. Like I said, I'll be importing from the other channel. Because I realized that there came a point where I needed to separate my content, you know. And having a second and a third channel is one way to do that. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, appreciate you stopping in. You know, if you're into the Kung Fu Fair, that's what we're doing over here. And I talk about the Kung Fu films, the ninja movies, the karate films, the Japanese films from Japan, Sonny Chiba, Yasuaki Kurata, all of them guys, huh? Yeah. So, you know. He says, great. How would you like to appear on our channel and battle another YouTube personality in our Kung Fu Trivia Challenge? Well, you know what? It's like there's not a lot that I don't know about that. That stuff. You know what? What I do here, and I thank you for that offer and invitation. I may chime in and check that out. But it's not even about, showing off what it is. What it is like, this is a genre of content that I grew up on, and I just absorbed it to the degree that I have all of these stories and experiences and everything from films that I viewed and things that I were introduced to through the process, and it become something that it's like I want to share mine, because I found out, of course, now that we have the internet. When I was a kid, there was no internet, of course, but you find out that there were so many people across the world just like you that love these films like this. So it's an amazing experience, and all the content that I produce, my Kung Fu film reviews, get the most views out of everything. So there's people out there that love this stuff, man. And I talk about it in detail sometimes. I just wish that YouTube would let me show the clips. So, but yeah, I'm gonna get ready to get on out of here. That's it for my hour, because I usually do this for an hour. And I hope to see you guys again. I'll come back with another one, but I haven't decided which one it's going to be yet. I got Kung Fu movies on the shelf over here by me, up over in my bookcase up here. I got them all around me, man. So hundreds of them, so I'll never run out of watching them. So, but yeah, I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC, and we're going to catch you guys on the next one. Peace to everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week, and you know what it is. So yeah.